Joining us now is Patricia DeGenarro. She's a senior fellow at the World Policy Institute. She also teaches a course on international security at New York University. You've been with us throughout the last hour or so talking about what will happen next. And as Otto mentioned, a smooth transition so far, but it must have been something that the king had planned looking beyond his years.
Yeah, I definitely think it was something that he had planned and they had been looking at since his health was deteriorating over time. So I think at this point you'll see a smooth transition from one king to the next. It'll be after that, as the younger generation comes in, to see what the changes will be.
We're hearing that this funeral will take place in Riyadh, as Otto mentioned, on Friday. Mm-hmm. So everything is moving very quickly. Just some of your thoughts as we've been getting reaction, hearing of this news. It seems like there are some leaders that are starting to make some statements on this. What are your thoughts on how this is all going to play out?
Yeah, well, you'll definitely hear world leaders. I mean, Saudi is very involved and has very big ties in the West as well as the East, in the Gulf states. So you'll definitely hear a lot of condolence coming from the world. This is a world leader who has been in power for a very long time, probably before the country even came into existence, or he was born before the country came into existence. And so definitely he has strong relationships with a lot of the other, presidents, prime ministers, monarchies throughout the region and the world.
Can you talk about some of the regional implications? As you mentioned, this is something that perhaps was not a surprise, but this is happening in a region that has been very volatile, very unstable in the last year or so. What are people looking at now? Some signs, maybe some reaction from some of the other countries in the region?
Well, they'll definitely look for reactions. I think King Salman now, has very good relationships economically with a lot of the region. That is his strong point. And so I think he'll continue to bring in, to build and focus on economics is what he thinks will bring more peace and stability to the region. I mean, we have the secular strife right now that is going on, and that's the biggest concern. It has also affected Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Bahrain and all of the region. So that's something that they'll definitely be taking a look at. But I think that they have been prepared for this transition. It's clear since they actually named 2 successors, just in case, because of the age and the health of the current ruling family, or ruling brothers. So we will, at this time at least, see that consistency of policy stay stable for the time, I think for the foreseeable, several years at least.
Do you see any cause for concern given the volatility of the region? Any of the players there? ISIL has been very active, not too far away. Al Qaeda, of course, is a group that's been talked about, especially with what's happening in Yemen.
Right.
Anything we should watch for from some of these groups maybe also reacting to this?
Well, absolutely, they're going to react to this. And again, the Saudi monarchy has been fragile. Up until now, they've managed to stay stable with some of the policies that they've put in place. I think the biggest challenge for them is going to be with their relationship with Iran and how they move forward with that from current day, into the future. The instability has been kind of fostered by both of them, and so it'll be a good time for the monarchy to look at economics first, and then supporting or placating the more fundamentalists in the monarchy, like they've been doing, for some time now, which has not been working, has caused some of the instability and insecurity that's happening there.
Many outside in the global community has looked to Saudi Arabia as a very stable country, a stable force in that region. Do you see it continuing to stay that way, or do you see a power shift somehow?
The challenge over time has been that the region has not been very stable. I think that there has always been pushback against the monarchies. There have always been pockets of people who would prefer to work on a more democratic, a more pluralistic society and a more inclusive and not separate. And so you're seeing different outcomes of this. And of course, we see a quite violent one, because when you have violence, this is what we tend to, focus on and concentrate on. But these are things that have been within the context of the region for a long time, and I don't think they're going away anytime soon.
Because the West, particularly the United States, has really looked to Saudi Arabia as an ally, as a really partner there. What do leaders in the West need to look at? Do they need to be worried at all?
At this point, again, I don't think they need to be worried. I think Saudi will continue on the same policy. They'll continue to be helpful with the coalition in the Gulf right now against IS. They'll be helpful with some of the counterterrorism activities and exercises they're doing in the region. I think the challenge is going to be the monarchy itself and how it will be able to evolve. And I think that will be a challenge for all the leaderships in this region. We saw the situation in Egypt. We see, al-Sisi come back, and the democracy has diminished. There are reporters that have been in prison for a very long time. And some of these things have to be thought about how they want the movement forward if they're going to stop some of this instability and violence. Because, the clampdowns and the marginalizations got us where we are now, and they're not going to continue to be able to survive.
All right, stay